When you hear the terms like extroverted and introverted, what comes to mind to you? Especially if you're thinking about extroverted children and introverted children, what does it mean? Along the way, we seem to have gotten those definitions a little bit confused. And today what I want to look at those definitions, but especially look at parenting extroverted children. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life, and thank you so much for joining me. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Do you have things that you just love doing to recharge you? Because really, that's what it is. And sometimes, watching YouTube is a great way to recharge us. So thank you for watching these videos and for your likes and subscribes and comments. Hey, share with a friend. Well, I am an introvert. I know how I best recharge, and that is by myself in silence. But many people think that I'm an extrovert because we've got this idea in our mind of what an introvert and what an extrovert is. That an extrovert that is somebody that, is outgoing and can be up in front of a group of people and, can be that life of the party or do this or do that. And an introvert who is somebody who is quiet and, more withdrawn and laid back like that. And actually that's not the case, because you can have very outgoing people who have to recharge by themselves, which is what being an introvert is, and an extrovert who's fairly quiet but needs to recharge by being with other people and having those connections. And that is very much my husband. He's a lot quieter than I am, but he really thrives when he gets those connections in small groups. And, everybody will always peg us around the other way and think he's the introvert and I'm the extrovert because of this misconception that we have on what truly an introvert or an extrovert is. Now, I do believe that it's important that we know whether our child is an introvert or an extrovert in knowing how they can recharge, because this can really help us in understanding why some behaviors might be happening. Like, why all of a sudden do I have the rage monster? It could just be that they really need some downtime and time for themselves and they're being overstimulated. Or we've just seen they're super silly, super hyped up because they've just been overstimulated because they really actually have been around people too much. And this can happen with extroverts and maybe need to step back. Or maybe they've become really withdrawn and quiet and just seem sad. And what they need some friend time. So when we see that and we look at our extroverted children, yes, there are definitely some traits that fit very well with extroverted children. They are usually our high energy and profoundly social. We definitely have one of those in our family. Actually, our other one thinks that she is like that. She loves people. Oh, she absolutely adores people and the thought of being around them. But she needs to recharge by herself. She truly is an introvert, and she can be in the midst of a high social setting and be like, yep, done, and take off. So, we have both in our family. We are a beautiful blend of introvert and extrovert. And guess what? 2 introverted parents can have an extroverted child. How's that? That's a good one for the books, isn't it? To really just sort of mix up, how are we going to deal with this? But let's look at some of the traits of an extroverted child. They enjoy social settings. People, give me people, and in that, we just love being around other people. It gives us energy. We just love that. Yes, they enjoy their social settings. Can be risk takers. Yeah, many of our extroverts enjoy new things. New situation, new this, and so they might be a risk taker. Yeah, I would think about that with one of ours as I look at she just takes off to do something and doesn't fully stop to think about what might happen. So she actually really enjoys those risks. And actually, she really enjoys those risks with other people. Can adapt to new people and new environments. Yeah, they are good at adapting. I watch my husband. He can walk into a room, he can look and he can assess and he knows what should be going on and where's it at and where he can fit in. Whereas I'm can be hanging back and going, oh, thank goodness I see one person I know. Often like with this, many extroverts never know a stranger because, it's a new person. Oh, this is somebody that I could get to know. Like, this is great. Whereas I'm like, there's a whole bunch of new people. Feeling a little out of my depth. That is just not my comfort zone. They can have good verbal communication, often with our extroverts. And of course, our introverts can too. Don't forget, some of these traits can overlap, but many extroverts have great communication skills. So we look at a lot of performers, a lot of people who are high energy up in front of people. It's usually their extroverted nature that is drawing them out to this. Can be spontaneous. Spontaneity and changing their mind. This can be a trait especially of an extroverted child that hasn't learned how to temper it or to understand consequences of these things. I'm just going to change my mind. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm like, what do you mean calm down? But I see the swings and I want to go to the swings, but now I'm going to go to the slide over there. And what do you mean you haven't followed me? That high energy can be very draining, especially if you're an introverted parent. But this spontaneity is a good thing. Good at working with others. Those group projects, which I hated. I'd much rather do it all by myself. But this can be great, in solutions to problems because it's that interacting with other people that really draws and provides that strength and that connection and that energy. So they can just be really good with working with other people, and group projects can be great for them. So think about that. If you have an extroverted child, can I get them into some group settings where they can be learning and doing things? So that leads into how can we parent extroverted children? Well, provide opportunities for social settings. Play dates, other group activities. They need to be doing this. They need to be around other children. Again, in all things, be careful not to overstimulate, but they do need to have. And if you see your child getting withdrawn or just dealing with unexplained SADs, that's what they get called in our house. They need to be around other people. They need to be around their friends. Combine exercise with fun. Think playgrounds, like actually getting that physical movement is actually a really good thing for an extrovert. And so, when you've got that fun and you can run and you can do this, riding bikes, skateboarding, scootering, all of those sorts of things can be really good for our extroverted children. Teach social skills. They actually do need those social skills. Yes, they love being around people, but that doesn't mean that they're not learning. They need to learn how to take turns. And for our older children, learning how to share. I think taking turns when we're little, sharing when we're older, they need to learn these things. They need to learn not to take over all the time, or not to just fully step in and just try to lead the way and make sure that it's their decision and their decision only. They need to be learning these things. Or like in the case of our daughter, you actually have to communicate what you're thinking, because she'll often get upset, but nobody wants to do what I want to do, because she has thought it and hasn't said it out loud. But we also want to be careful that they're not just getting bossy and getting right in there. Teach the consequences. They need to know the consequence of what happens like when we're overstimulated and what could happen. The consequences of when in that maybe we become aggressive. This can happen for extroverted children. That overstimulation can often lead to aggression. It is just too much and it's just powering out of them. So they do need to sit back and learn and understand what their behaviors do. And the sooner we can teach them when we're aware, okay, they're more extroverted, then we can help them in that. And this can be a good thing. And we might be just hitting that fence time and time again. And they might be trying to climb over that fence every time to the other side. Well, guess what? There's consequences with it. And that could mean hurting your friends, even though you didn't mean to do so. So we need to teach consequences. Respect their spontaneity. This can be a good thing. As an introvert, sometimes you just have to maybe step out of yourself and go, okay, you want to be spontaneous. Provide opportunities to just say yes instead of always saying no. Listen to their thoughts. They've got ideas, thoughts, ideas. You know what? Take time to brainstorm with them and just go, what? I love that idea. You know what? You don't have to actually do anything with their ideas, but it's just that moment of being with them and connecting with them to hear their thoughts, their ideas. Oh, where could we go with that? And brainstorm. This is a really good thing for them. Don't shame them for who they are. It just breaks my heart when I see children being shamed for who they are. They can't help being an extrovert. They can't help being an introvert. They can't help having this sort of personality type or learning in this way. And yes, there are high energy children and they want to be around others. They're the talkers in the class, blah, 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 blah. Well, this is, we can learn to sort of control some of these impulses, but we can't shame them for who they are because that'll break a spirit. And we don't want to break a spirit. We want to build it up and help them learn how to control who they are. So don't shame them for being an extrovert, especially if you're an introvert. So that leads into how can you parent an extroverted child when you're an introvert? It's tough at times, but you know what? It's a good thing too. I am very aware of who I am, and I've been able to teach my girls along the way who I am and what I need to do to recharge. And this is actually very key. Be telling them. Now they're at an age where I can say, look, Mummy has reached the end of her rope. And Mummy is about to lose her shiz. So do you want happy Mummy or cranky Mummy? And they're like, well, happy Mummy, of course. And I'm like, great. So Mummy needs to go and be by herself. Do not try to come to me. Do not knock on the door and say, Mummy, Mummy, Mummy. Do not do anything until I calm out. Because I need to be able to recharge and I need them to understand that too. And it's just as important for them to know how their father recharges as an extrovert. So I can say, Papa, he's an extrovert and he needs to recharge by hanging out with his friends. That's why he has guys' night. Because when he doesn't have guys' night and he's not connecting with others, do we want a sad Papa? Sad Papa who just feels, No, we don't want. We want happy Papa, an energized Papa. So he needs guys' night. So when we are an introvert parenting an extroverted child, they need to understand that I'm going to recharge differently. I also need to understand, we introverted parents need to understand how they need to recharge. And that can be hard sometimes. And it's like, I need some time to myself, but they need their friends. They need their friends. And that's where it can actually be great when you make friends who are willing to just take your children and you can just go off for a little bit by yourself. Have a sweet friend who'll do that. She's like, hey, I'm picking up your girls. I'll be like, thank you. And it gives me that time either to get work done or just even sit in silence. They need to recharge. So sometimes I have to step out of myself to help them to recharge. And so, it's a give and it's a take, but above all, it's a communicating. And saying when we're reaching our limit or saying what we need. Introvert, I've reached my limit. As an extrovert, Mummy, I need my friends. These things are important. And it's important to know that we all contribute to the environment of our family and how we feel and the happiness and the sadness and all of that. And sometimes, we don't fully understand it, but sometimes it's just because we need to recharge in a way that is just great for us. And so parenting extroverted children, I think knowing if your child is an introvert or an extrovert is key. And in parenting our extroverted children, in understanding and observing and knowing when they really need that boost, when they really need that sort of hit of a recharge by being with friends, and also just really understanding that energy, even though it might be draining for you. Now, just for a bit of fun, hey, some famous extroverts. I always think it's fun to try and guess if somebody is an introvert or an extrovert. And so, it can be also really good to say to your children, hey, so-and-so's an extrovert. Hey, see how they've been able to channel that energy, and their people skills, woohoo. So here are some famous ones. Marie Antoinette, maybe not the best role model. But Steve Jobs, Muhammad Ali, Winston Churchill, President Clinton, President George W. Bush, look at these world leaders, often coming up. Why are they, so powerful in what they're doing? Because they're using their extroverted nature to a good cause. Oprah, Robin Williams, the list can go on. It really is worth looking up and going through it with your children to help them understand who they are and what they can do to really just channel their extroverted nature. Well, thank you so much for watching today. And you know what? Next week, we're going to look at parenting the introverted child. So stay tuned for that. And if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, you can become a champion, and you can check that out at patreon.com or at my website, learningthis.life.